Executive session, I want to apologize for that. We ran a little late, but it's the workings of the town, stuff we have to do, so if you stand and face the flag, pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have any additional agenda items?
Mr. Chairman, through you to the board, under my report, number 3, if we could remove that item, the approval of the Council on Aging MARC contract. There's been some changes with that, so that's not ready for approval.
Okay.
Thank you.
That it?
That's all I have.
Anybody get anything else? Anybody have a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Okay, announcements, I got a couple. The presidential election is being held on Tuesday, November 8th, thank God, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Early voting is available until Friday, November 4th, during regular business hours. The 4th is the last day, and that's 1 o'clock, and we've had tremendous response with people voting early. Aren't we over like 20% or something?
There were about 1,000 people.
Crazy.
I think the last time she did a percentage was like 22% or something.
That's nuts.
I did like 3 times.
I hope you voted for the guy who voted for. Oh, sorry.
He voted one for all the above.
Second quarter taxes are due today, November 1st. Payments can be made online till midnight tonight at Town Hall during regular business hours. Dropped in a lockbox located outside Town Hall, the Columbia Street side. One other thing is we have one of our longer members being employed in town, Lisa White, secretary of the chief of the fire department, is leaving after 16 years. And just want to say thanks. We appreciate what you've done for the last 16 years. Okay, public input. Check. Application for common victualers license. Lamp and Dragon.
Yes, ma'am.
Come on up.
Hello.
Hi. State your name.
Hannah Rudd.
Okay. And you need a victual license for,
Small cafe I'd like to open.
okay. What is it?
Coffee, sandwiches, things like that.
All right. Anybody got questions?
Where exactly is 41 Main?
It's right next to, it's over on Main Street, over in the Page Moore building. I'm right between Marco's on Main and the downstairs entrance to Billiards Cafe.
Ah, yeah.
The old Century Carpet?
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
that's where I am. She's,
Oh, okay.
where there was a,
Yeah, no, I know where it is, I just couldn't remember what the building
It
is.
was a nail salon for a long time.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
this is my daughter, by the way. I don't know if you
Oh.
guys know that.
We won't hold it against you, don't worry about it.
Thank you for that.
Anybody have any questions? Do we have licenses up to,
Yep.
they need a health?
All set within the Board of Health.
Oh,
for the
okay.
Michelle Board of Health.
Okay.
Will the food be prepared in your kitchen, Mark, or is it something you
Nope.
have? You have
I have
ability-
my own heat sources, and everything on the menu's been checked out with Bridget.
Okay,
Yeah, we won't be getting anything from Mark.
okay.
What your hours gonna be?
Currently, my store is retail only. It's a hybrid concept, sort of like a family game shop and a cafe. Right now, I open in the afternoon, but I will be opening a little bit earlier once I have food. So I'm probably going to looking at like 11 to 8, something like that. Closed on Sunday and Monday.
Anything else?
No, I mean, if the Board of Health's fine with it, I have no issues with it.
You have a motion?
No, because I lost my page.
I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the application for common victualer's license for the Lamp and Dragon, which will be at 41 Main Street.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Good
Congratulations.
luck.
Thanks.
Hannah, if you want to come by tomorrow and pick that up.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Good luck. Okay. Alicia, you here again? It's like 3 times in a row.
So,
I know, she's been a regular too. How are you?
good to see you all.
Yeah, good to see you too.
So, Hillary Curtis, I'm the director of our advocates program here in town.
Yep.
And we have the contracts for our 3rd year. This is the 3rd year out of a 4-year grant. And it's pretty similar to last year's contract and everything. I don't know, did you have any questions about it?
I've been through it enough. I have no questions.
Okay, and Hillary just wanted to...
You saying you're in the receiving end of it?
Yeah.
Hillary
It
just
could
wanted
be.
to update you to what's happening on our program.
Okay.
Just, we're looking to expand some psychiatry services, hopefully starting in December, adding a clinician, and we've been able to expand some of our services to the Worcester Superior Probation. So we're doing some work with them as well, but really focusing on having recovery coaches with lived experience. I spent the last 2 days at a great training on supervising them. Really amazing to look at multiple pathways to recovery, not just offices, not just therapy, but
Mhm.
people with lived experience, helping others. It's
How's-
been really transformative.
How's the opioid issues around here? Is it,
You know, since we get referrals for the Ayer District Court, so we get, I'll see all 10 towns, but there's a lot of people really struggling and a lot of families who have
Yeah.
been reaching out to us. So we're going to see if there are other ways that we could expand our services to provide more information,
Mhm.
more flexible ways to give education information to families who are stressed out. Because with therapy and HIPAA, we can only talk to the
Right.
person, and we want to be able to be more helpful and welcoming to people who are struggling and don't know which way to navigate themselves.
no, we appreciate your services. You do a good service for the town of Ayer. Hope we're not stressing you out at all, so.
Never.
Okay.
I'm a resident here, you can't get rid of me.
Oh, okay, all right. So that's it, Alicia, 341,312?
Excuse me?
$341,312?
Yes, I'm saying yes. What did I say? Yes.
Okay. Do you have a motion?
Are you sure you want it? One more time.
We need Gary to sign it, so we need the approval for Gary to sign.
Okay, all right.
Oh, no, we need all 3 of you to sign it, the contract, so,
Okay, you sure this time?
yes, I am.
Okay.
You got insurance?
I hope so.
No, I didn't know if you wanted me to read it.
I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the contract for the Samsha Behavioral Health Treatment Court Collaborative for the sum of $341,312, and it runs from September 30th, 2016 through September 29th, 2017. The
Got it.
signature by the whole board.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any more questions? Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're good.
Is the new facility up at Devon's going to be any type of resource that you could possibly utilize, or?
I believe they're a private, for-profit hospital, so they'll probably be seeing a different set of clients. The more beds, the better. I mean, there just
Yeah.
aren't enough beds. We certainly would be happy to help them with step-down and aftercare services.
Right.
This is probably where they may seek us out.
They're opening shortly, too.
I think next week.
Yeah.
Is there a signature page in this?
Last one.
Last one of those 3.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
Do you want to just give them tomorrow?
That's fine. So, very good, thank you very much.
How many years have we been doing this?
Entering year 3, but we had another grant previous.
Oh,
For
right,
3 years,
that's
that
right.
was a 3-year grant, so
Right.
this is 6 years. We're
Yeah.
going into this 6th year.
Great.
That's why you're getting sick of me now.
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, yeah, we'll have that. You can pick it up at colleague.
Do you want us to bring the chairs away, or?
No, we might have somebody else sit there.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Take care. So it's just one?
There's 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
can we do these later?
Yeah.
I have a second one, I'm sorry.
All right.
I thought that was pretty good.
So you want me to read the
Okay.
notice of public hearing?
Yes, please.
All right, Town of Ayer, notice of public hearing, Ayer Board of Selectmen. Aren't I the clerk? Did I get demoted?
I apologize.
Try that again. Town of Ayer, notice of public hearing, Ayer Board of Selectmen. The Ayer Board of Selectmen will be conducting a public hearing on Tuesday, November 1st, 2016 at 7:15 p.m. at the Ayer Town Hall, first floor meeting room, 1 Main Street, Ayer, Mass. 01432, regarding an application by Keith Layton, DBA The Revival Pub, 25 Main Street, at number 1A Ayer, Mass. 01432, seeking a new license for general on-premises all alcohol beverages pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 12. Gary J. Luca, Chair. Christopher R. Hillman, Vice Chair. Janice L. Livingston, Clerk. And it ran on October 14, 2016.
I've been clerk almost as many times as Gary's been chair.
That's correct. All right. Questions? Anybody?
Hi, how are you?
Oh,
He just dives right into questions, you know? So this is for an on-premises, not to be confused with the off-premises licenses that we just were talking about the last couple of weeks.
Correct.
Okay, and,
And
okay.
what I want to do is open up just a small pub in the same building where Union Coffee is.
Mhm.
They've been doing quite well over there, and craft coffee, gourmet coffee, and I want to open up a small craft beer place because I think it will be really, they'll complement each other, the businesses.
Mhm.
I do have a salon in there now, but her lease is coming up, and we're hoping to find her a new location, just because I get tenants upstairs complaining all the time of the smells and everything.
Yeah, nail
Which
polish
hindsight's
and
everything.
hairspray and all that,
Yeah.
yeah, all that stuff, yep.
So I just think the place is, hindsight's everything. I should have thought about that before, because it's such a unique spot, such a cool spot for a little pub. There's a big fireplace in there, beautiful mantle,
It's a nice building.
and I think both the businesses will help each other out. People go in the morning for coffee and they'll look and they'll see a cool pub like that. And just like downtown Hudson, as you know, that place is just booming. And there's a place there, it's a pub and people bring in food from other places. So people could go to the cottage across the street, they could go to T-Bo's, bring burritos in if they want. And I want this place to be more of like almost like a business meeting place.
Mhm.
Not like a sports pub or anything like that, just a small, unique, very high-end pub. And I came up with the name the Revival Pub for the Revival of Downtown Air, because I think with the train station and everything, I think it will really fit.
So you're moving into the space where the beauty salon is
Yes,
currently?
yep, so if you go in, to the right.
There's about 6 beauty salons there, but
Yeah,
the one closest.
and that's another thing, because I just, as
All right.
being an owner of, well, I did own 2 buildings, I recently sold one, but I just think the downtown, the salons, it's just, come on, how many do we need?
Well, my wife goes there, so that's why it's a concern to
Well,
me.
the thing is, she's been in business for a very long time, she's a great tenant, she really is, and I felt really bad telling her, but tenants upstairs and everything, smells travel from salons no matter what you do.
Yep.
And not only that, they can do damage to your drainage. I've done a lot of research on it, as well as, the walls, everything. They can permeate into the walls, and it can be very costly down the road. And I just think for this town and what's happening in this town, I think the more little cafes, little pubs, and this is gonna be different than any pub that's around here. It's gonna be, like I said,
It's not a dive bar.
it's
a
26 to 28 seats max. Beautiful pub, kind of like Armsby Abbey in Worcester, which is a
Mhm.
very famous place. It's a very well-known place, beautiful in there. So much so they put the beer in the proper glasses, like snifters and stuff like that. And I think this area could really use that. And I think and I've also been talking with Walter. He's can't think of his last name, but he owns a craft beer cellar in Westford. Yeah. Yeah. And he thinks the idea is spot on, and he's gonna, we're gonna try to do something together possibly. He's definitely gonna consult, because he's got all the connections on the certain beer that he knows how to get.
Right.
Like, for example, there's Armsby Abbey in Worcester. They're the only bar in the state of Massachusetts that has Hill Farmstead on tap right now. It's rated the best beer in the world. But you cannot get that anywhere except for that one bar in Worcester. And I'm trying to slowly make certain connections to have certain beers in there that people will travel. If you go on Beer Advocate, that craft beer now it's an insane market. And it's just going up and up. And people will absolutely travel far distances if you have a certain beer on tap.
That's true.
So
I don't drink beer, but I know that's true.
No,
It's-
right, yeah.
and the industry is exploding. And there's more. I was out in Berniston, Mass. yesterday. There's because I've been trying to make a few connections, because some of these small breweries, it's hard to get their beer. So I'm slowly trying to make connections to, because they like a small pub like this that specializes in really good, good quality beer.
Mhm.
And they want to make sure that your lines are cleaned all the time, because they don't want to spoil their name by having lines that aren't cleaned all the time, because it makes the beer taste differently. So they want to make sure that you run a tight ship. And so that's kind of what I'm looking to do over there.
And Kyle, everything in order as far as?
The issue I had emailed today about the ice, Bridget had let us know that that's considered food.
Mm-hmm.
So, because you're not serving food, you still have to submit food plans to the, to Bridget at the show the boards are out.
And do you have to, removal of food? People are gonna leave their food there. Do you have, is there anything special you need for that?
I don't think so.
No?
I mean, there's
A
gonna be
dumpster?
Grease, right, Mark? That's grease?
Yeah, if they were doing cooking,
Yeah.
certain types of cooking, they need a grease trap.
Yeah, there won't be any.
All right. Anybody in the audience got a question? Yes, Mike?
When do you plan on opening?
Well, right now, I have a tenant in there, and I don't want to just kick her out, especially in the winter, because she needs a place to go. I want to make sure she finds a place to go. Her lease is up, I think, the end of December, but I'm hoping she'll be out of there before April. But again, her lease is up, and, I don't want to hurt her business either. So hopefully early, in the spring, because there's not, as far as the work that has to be done in there, it's, there's a couple things that have to come out, and basically a bar needs to be built. And I basically did all my homework on 9 Main Street. Everything I did in there came out beautiful, which is why it sold, no problem.
Didn't take any of it with you?
No, but possibly right now, because the new guys want granite, and that's a $5,000 bar top I put in there.
There you
And
go.
it's awesome, and it will fit. And I told them I'd be happy to buy it, as well as the tap system, because that has the top of the line tap system too, that I put in over there. And then I'm sure if they really want that many on tap, because Chinese, they're gonna do some unique stuff over there. It's gonna be a pretty cool thing. I talked them into saving the oven. It's about a $30,000 oven that it's never been used. It's ready to be used, but it's never been used, and there's some cool things that they're gonna do with that.
Cool.
So I think with that place, and the more businesses like that in the downtown, I think it's just gonna help. It's gonna help everybody.
Oh, sure.
Mhm.
Well, in a place like this, you may go to Marco's and then on the way out, stop and
Yeah.
Bible pub and grab a beer. Or
Right, because there's a lot of people
or while
that
you're
just
waiting
wanna
at
go
Marco's
out
for your
Yeah.
and have a
beer.
quick
Right.
meeting after work or something, and maybe have, bar snack, pretzels or something, and a couple beers, and I think this place would be perfect for that, in front of the fireplace. And,
Right.
and I already have some plans drawn up, and I talked to an engineer the other day. I just have to confirm, but I think as far as the bathrooms that are in there, that we have enough between because they're shared bathrooms. with
Yeah,
Union
It's
Coffee.
in the back.
And they actually might be expanding their hours eventually too, because they like the idea of because they're doing really well over there.
Yeah.
And they love the idea of having, a high-end pub right next to them.
Yeah, I like this stuff.
Sounds exciting.
Anything?
No, I think it's great.
All right, and everything's in order?
Yep.
Motions?
I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen approve the application for the, what is that, Section 12 on-premise all alcohol license for the Revival Pub of 25 Main Street.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Great.
there you go, Scott. Thanks. Keith.
Yeah.
I call him Scott all the time. His
I
name's
make a
Keith.
motion that we close the public hearing.
So, do I need to see Bridget then?
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
I'll drop a check on tomorrow.
Perfect.
Thanks, Keith.
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Superintendent, oh, there you are. Wetzel.
Thank you. Just as kind of an addition to that discussion about, the downtown's doing great. And so one of the things I'm working on putting in my budget is to begin designing the improvements and grant applications for trying to redo the curbing and the sidewalks and streetscape. It's a long process and it's an expensive process, so that's why we're trying to figure out what we want to do, how we're going to do it, and how much it's going to cost. But it is getting a little tired, and I think it really benefits the community. So that's something I'm working on.
Is there a way to fix that side of the street with the brick and the curb?
The other side?
Yeah.
I was just looking at that, and I think there's just one or two doorways that are a problem. So we may be able to do
Raise the doorway?
Well, I don't know if we can do that, but we might be able to do a lot of that side, so we don't have the curb. It's mostly
It's ridiculous.
the florist
Yeah.
shop and that little block there, which is the problem. So we could fix this section right across the street here, and then in front of the liquor store and down a way. So there might be just one section of the block we couldn't do unless we looked at structurally if we could change the.
Yeah, it's not like you can
entrance.
lower it or anything, right?
No, and you don't really want to have a step down going into it.
Right.
But we can look at it. We were looking at trying to maybe widen the sidewalk so you have more room between the curb and the sidewalk. So that's one of the things we'll look at in detail on how we want to do that, how we want to grade it. We also there's some utility issues out there we have to deal with as part of it. But I just figured we'd start budgeting a little bit amount of money to come up with a plan, and also so we can apply for some state money for it.
Cool.
So the first item on the agenda is an update on what's going on with the diesel fuel spill over at the Pan Am Rail Yard. Does that work?
Emails on this? Did I miss?
No, there was a couple.
Really just kind of one.
From
Can you,
Lauren Herring,
saying, can you make a statement and, if there's something to
Fire
make a
chief
statement
had
about,
one.
Yeah.
So this happened on a week ago Sunday. The fire chief called me and the DEP called me and let me know what was going on. And just so people get the perspective, so the rotary's up here, the town wells for the Grove Pond well field's right here. Here's Peroni Park, and here's the rail crossing, and here's where all the tracks are, and this was where the spill is. And the access is, you go up Barnum Road and go around through to Independence Drive. So it's a little bit roundabout to get to. But this is where the spill was. What happened was one of the locomotives was driving through, and a piece of the track, about a 4-foot piece of track, came loose, was flipped up and punctured a hole in the diesel fuel tank of the locomotive and spilled about 2,500 gallons of diesel fuel. Some of that was absorbed during the spill. They were trying to collect it. They put absorbent out, but I would say probably only about 300 or 400 gallons got absorbed, is my guess.
Did they call right away?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Because
There was a pretty good response.
Okay.
And so you can see it's a fair distance from the town wells, and I think in the wetlands are down here. They immediately got a licensed site professional, an LSP out. DEP was out there, their emergency response crew. Pan Am has a company called NRC Services that does their environmental cleanup. When I went out there first thing Monday morning, there was probably about 30 people there. And everybody was like, well, now what do we do? During the week, they removed the tracks, 2 sets of tracks, dug out all the soil, dug down. I think they were, when I was out there, they went down about 15 feet. They did not hit groundwater at that level. They took they have a handheld, what they call a PID, photo ionizing detector, that tells what the contaminants are, and took readings after they had excavated what appeared to be all the spill, and got down, so they were acceptable readings. They were minor, pretty minor levels. So then they hauled all the sand away, backfilled, and they're in the process of they might by now put the tracks back together. They're going to be putting in some monitoring wells, about 4 monitoring wells. I asked them to get a background test on our well over here. They also, Devon's has a well right here that they don't use. So they're going to put a series of wells out, and then we can monitor that, see if there's any changes. I don't see at this point that there's going to be any impacts to our wells. I think they responded pretty quickly, got everything cleaned up. Diesel doesn't move through the soil that quickly, so I think we're in pretty good shape.
Oh, cool.
I guess the one thing I'll add is the condition of their tracks throughout is so deplorable in some cases that it wouldn't surprise me if this is an instance that pops up again. I know Mark and Chief Bradley have been out near my house with the culvert that's failing, which will eventually cause a train to do something. But
they do work on the tracks. Sometimes it takes a few phone calls to get their attention. We're trying to get them now. I've been trading emails with different people about the crossing on Fitchburg Road's in pretty rough shape. And they kind of do temporary patches, and then a truck goes over it and it destroys that. So they need to get out there and do some permanent work. So we're trying to come up with a plan to do that.
All right.
So.
Cool.
The next on the agenda, a couple meetings ago, there were some residents in here who were surprised by the increase in the sewer connection fee. So we looked at how many existing houses have sewer available but aren't connected to the sewer, and we think it's about 100. We're double checking of those, but it looks like there's about 100 existing houses in town that have access to the sewer that aren't connected. So what I'm proposing is that we have a one-time connection fee for a period ending July 1, 2017 of $2,000 for people that are have the sewer in front of their houses. Their existing residents have sewer but haven't connected. So if they pay the fee within the next 9 months, that then they can connect at $2,000 instead of the $4,800 that we currently have approved. So if you concur with that recommendation, I think it's fair to those residents. Then if so, I'll send out a letter to all the people on the list, and
putting a deadline on it's a good idea too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, as long as everybody knows about it, that
right.
can take advantage of it, then
Yeah.
it's a good thing. So.
Yeah, I agree. Do we have to make a motion on that?
Yes. Any questions? Yes, Mark.
Just a question. I was under the impression 30 years ago when they put the sewer down the street and I paid for the stub and the stub is on my property. I was under the impression that I could tie in for nothing when my sewer system failed. And I'm all for everything, and I don't have any proof or anything. And just wondering if,
I don't know. Anybody know?
I'm happy that you're going from 48 to $2,000.
Right.
Be more happy if it was for nothing.
Well, you know, we can,
You're gonna just have to stay happy then, I think.
we can research it and if,
I have not seen anything. I've tried to.
Oh, okay.
And when you go back, I want to say that was, when was that sewer put in?
Yeah,
It was early 70s?
18 what?
I'm gonna say 30 years ago.
You know, one of the ideas, the sewer connection fee is kind of a join the club fee. And the reason is we own excess capacity in both our treatment plant and we bought some capacity in Devon's. The existing ratepayers have been paying for that capacity. And so when someone new wants to connect, it's kind of their share of paying for that capacity that the ratepayers have been paying for. So it's more to be fair to the existing customers than it is to try to raise some revenue at someone else's expense.
It's kind of like buying into the tech when we bought in.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's a fair solution to the existing.
All right, we'll see if we can find anything on it.
I make a motion that the sewer tie-in rate be amended for existing residents who have the ability to tie in to be reduced to $2,000 up until July 1st, 2017.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's been written, it is the law.
The next agenda item is a contract change order for the Pleasant Street project. This change order is for $31,541.95. We collected a number of different changes and put them all in here. It's basically, two of them are unforeseen conditions. One was making our new connection on Main Street the way we had it designed, and the way once we dug it up and started looking at it, we decided to change it and make it a little better, more reliable, and there was an additional cost related to that. We found out that the fire service connections for the two buildings on Main Street were off of that main, so we had to make some provisions for those for the fire connections, and then also the you probably see it with the plastic bag over the hydrant on the corner of Pleasant and Main.
Yeah.
To fix that. It basically that when we were doing the shutdown with the temporary, we discovered that hydrant was leaking. They dug it up to fix it and determined the way it's connected to the existing main isn't very reliable, so we're going to redo the whole thing. So those are the three items in the change order, and that's for signature by the chair.
Anyone?
It's
You,
31,000, right?
Oh, yeah, that's what I was looking at. I was trying to.
$31,541.95.
Make a motion to approve the change order for the Pleasant Street water connection?
It's the Pleasant Street
Reconstruction
Improvement
project.
For the sum of $31,541.95.
With signature by the chair.
Signature by the chair.
Seconded.
moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Was nothing marked out, I mean, in the past? I mean, I saw when I was over on Main Street, I mean, I don't know if you guys realize, they have an engineer that walks around now, and she was detailing everything and drawing up stuff and, you know, marking it, which makes total sense
Mhm.
for the future.
Yep.
But that never done in the past, it was just mishmash.
We have a lot of drawings and no two are alike. And then when you think you know what's going on, you
Yeah.
find out. Like, for instance, you know, we were trying to replace that hydrant on Mill Street, and I can't tell you how many valves we opened and closed.
Was that a break on Friday night? The guys were
No.
out there at like 9
No,
o'clock.
what we determined was the only way we could shut off that main without shutting off half of the town was to put what's called an insertion valve in, so that's what they were.
Yeah, because they were out there. It was pretty late.
Yeah.
At least 9 when I saw them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have to do it because when you're doing it, we can't do it when Moore's Lumber's open, because then they can't get in and
Sure.
out.
Yeah.
And it was actually kind of interesting, because when we were trying to figure out how to shut it down, we found a valve and we thought it was just a dead end to the old hotel, and we shut it, and then I got a call that night from Subway and says, "When are you going to turn our water back on?" Oh.
Oh, we didn't know we shut it off. Okay.
So there's a lot of places like that, because we have, you know, the existing system was, a lot of this was put in 1896, and as they added water mains and as they tore down buildings, valves got covered over. There were interconnections between the old mains and the new mains that no one knows about. You know, I was laughing. I told my guys, this is the only way we're going to fix this is we take out everything and replace it with everything new.
Speaking of hydrants, there's a hydrant that should be removed.
Where's that?
Depot Square?
in Depot
Oh,
Square.
yes, don't worry, we can't do that until we do the one at Mill Street.
Okay.
The fire chief won't let us take that one out until we
Oh, you're adding one on
replace.
Mill Street?
No, there's an existing one there that's not, it's a
Functioning.
substandard.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
It's just got the small 2.5-inch outlets, and they really need a 4-inch pumper to fight a fire if there was something at the rail yard or in the
All right.
lumber yard. So that's why it's taken so long, because we keep thinking we're about ready to replace that. And then that water main on Mill Street was 9 feet deep.
Yeah, it was. I was over at the mobile and I walked over. It was pretty impressive. They were digging down pretty deep and they were hauling stuff out.
If you look at some of Alan's postcards he keeps putting on the website, you'll see there was a lot of stuff going on around there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so anyway.
All right.
The next item is we voted additional money at town meeting, so this is the contract for the pre-engineered garage at Grove Pond water treatment plant. And Dan put this together, and oh, here's the price. Dan, by the way, the town engineer's wife had a baby on Saturday.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Nice.
congratulations.
Everything all right?
Baby boy, everything's great except
Good.
that Dan's not sleeping anymore. Good for him.
It's his first.
First, yeah.
Oh, good luck. Yeah.
So,
And he's,
he's off.
he's got a bed in the
He's
office.
not gonna sleep again for like another
Right,
18,
yeah.
20 years.
So we, the story behind the garages, we put it out to bid. This summer, we didn't get any bidders. We sat down with a couple of the contractors who took out plans but didn't bid on it. They said we didn't have enough money, which is why we went back to town meeting. We subsequently, anticipating the money at town meeting, put it out to bid. We did get one bid that was within the budget, who was a contractor I've worked with since mid-'80s. Father, the son's taken over the father's business. I knew the father as a contractor, but also he was a water commissioner in the town of Plainville, so I did a lot of work for him in Plainville. So very family run, but really knows what they're doing, contractor. So the bid price is $308,986. And so we have the agreement for signature by the board. I have
Bless you.
Thank you.
total of 4 copies.
I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen accept the agreement between the Town of Ayer and the Dankris Builders Corp. For the pre-engineered garage at Grove Pond in the amount of $308,986. It was with signature by the whole board.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
And
What time frame
Pass
is
it
it, Mark?
around when we're
Spring?
done.
they're going to get going right away, but I would imagine, the pre-engineered building, they've already actually started on it's a pre-engineered building, so we design the foundation, but then they modify it specific to the building. So they're looking at that, so it depends on when frost gets going, but they could start doing foundation. We have a little bit of work we have to do out there also. We got to move an old tight tank. And the last item is the West Main Street pump station contract change order. This is, as you know, we're building replacing the old pumping station on West Main Street. We ended up having to move the locations a little bit because of we're building it on an easement that Calvin Moore is going to give to the town, and where we had it originally designed, after we laid it out, he asked if we could adjust the location, and that required us to move from one side of a manhole to another, so we had to actually replace the manhole. So that's what this change order is for. It's for $8,993 for signature by the chair.
You make a motion that the board approve the additional costs associated with furnishing and installing a new sewer and removing the existing brick sewer manhole for the sum of $8,993 with signature by the chair.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
I left the date off of this. I didn't know.
Yeah, I'll fill in all the dates. Okay. All right, thank you.
Have a good evening.
All right, Mark, thanks.
I might stay and see
This is the conservation part of your life?
Yes.
the stormwater management.
These buttons.
Mr.
Move it forward.
Welcome, Al.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, through you, I would like to welcome Mr. Al Futterman from the Nashua River Watershed Association. And he and I are here tonight. This is the first of 8 presentations to the 8 boards of selectmen in the region for the Wild and Scenic River designation for segments of the Nashua, Nissitissit, and Squannacook River. So what we're doing is, you're probably, Selectman Luker, I believe, was the only selectman here at the time. Several years ago, the Watershed Association approached the town to sign on to this opportunity for this wild and scenic designation in conjunction with the National Park Service, and Congresswoman Tsongas had sponsored legislation at that time to support this, and the town did sign on, and the first you appointed myself and Beth Sudermeyer as the reps from the town of Ayer, and Al is representing the Watershed Association, and we have 8 towns involved. So the purpose of tonight, the board has the presentation, is Al and I, on behalf of the committee, just want to give a brief 15-minute status update as to where we are in the study. We're about a year in, so we're going to offer you that between the two of us tonight. So
it was probably 2009 or so that we
yeah.
came to the boards of selectmen in the 8 communities.
So what the study is, as you can see, the designation is congressionally authorized to determine whether a river segment is eligible and suitable for the designation, and that's this whole study process that's underway. It's based on the 1968 Wild and Scenic Rivers Act, and if you go onto the internet, you can see a lot of previous designations. This map here hard to see from this, but in your
Yeah.
packet, it shows a lot of the different rivers, systems that were designated already in the system. Presently, there's 160 and 36
When I
states.
checked today, there might have been 168.
All right.
What we're doing are partnership, wild and scenic. And that's to distinguish from a lot of wild and scenic that were originally done out west, where the feds own the land, they own, for quite a long while. We're here in New England, where we have these subset partnership. It's locally driven. The feds take very much a backseat.
So the first step, which I mentioned, with the boards of selectmen of the 8 towns voted to endorse the commencement of the study, which the board already did, including the appointment of the representatives to the committee. Congress authorized the study in late December 2014, and Congresswoman Tsongas announced it in January of 2015. And here's the study committee, composed by representatives by each of the towns. The committee is chaired by Miss Lucy Wallace of Harvard and co-chaired by Nadia Madden of Groton. And other voting committee members include representatives from the National Park Service and the Nashua River Watershed Association. We've been meeting monthly as a full committee. There's non-voting members at the table, including the Division of Ecological Restoration, Mass Division of Fish and Wildlife, and the Mass U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the Geological Service.
U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, particularly because of the Oxbow National Wildlife Refuge occupying about 7 miles of the river.
And then, as mentioned, from time to time, meetings, we have experts, different local and regional resource experts from Massachusetts and New Hampshire attend the meetings. So this shows you what parts of the river are being considered for the designation. It's the Nashua River main stem, from the confluence of the North and South Nashua River in Lancaster, north to the Massachusetts-New Hampshire state line at Pepperell and Dunstable. And this is the segment that flows through Ayer, on the western border of Ayer. The second segment is the Squanicook River. Third is the Nissitissit River, and I think the next slide is the map of the study area.
Sure. There are 2 subcommittees. One of them is the ORRV, Outstandingly Remarkable Resource Value. The other is a outreach subcommittee, which Robert is the chair of. We have to show that there are ORRVs. That should not be hard. As you likely know, there are several ACECs, areas of critical environmental concern. One of them is the Central Nashua River Valley, ACEC. That's been around for a while. And then more recently, the Squanasset and the Petapagua. They are by themselves, they show that we have the ORVs, but we still have to make the case. And we're looking at regional, statewide, and of national significance. So, of course, you have all the state-listed rare species. You have the high-yield aquifers that run through several of the towns. Cold water fisheries this far in eastern Mass is unique, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll probably go for a recreational river. You can do it as a wild river, a scenic river, or a recreational. I think we have the most in the recreational, with the rail trail and whatnot. A lot of the best fishing tournaments happen up in the Groton Pepperell area. We also have the story of the Nashua going from one of 10 worst or most polluted rivers in the U.S. to a very fine and clean river. So we'll make that case as well.
And then this speaks to why the study itself is of value. The study, which we're a year into, provides an opportunity for all of the towns to work together, which the 8 are very well. The study provides communities with incentives and structure and expertise and funding to identify needs, set goals, and implement plans to maintain and protect the river. And the process, as Al mentioned earlier, which is significant, is entirely voluntary and is locally determined and locally driven by this committee that's represented by all of the towns.
It's the Petapagua launch close to the NRWA headquarters on the Groton side of 119. The study is approximately 3 years. We're about a year into it. We will be opening it up as the outreach committee has more to share with stakeholders and with community members, looking to see if we've missed any of those outstanding remarkable values. They might have insights into that we've overlooked. Obviously, we're focusing on as many resources as we can, so it's natural, ecological, historic, etc. And then we write up our management plan. It's actually my task. In the course of the next 2 years, maybe I'd say in the next year, we'll have a draft, and that's when we'll start taking it around again, not only to boards of selectmen, but to as many committees, boards, and then stakeholder groups. I think that was a Cindy photograph, wasn't it?
Yes, if you go back one just real quick. Our Cindy Knox took this photo, and I volunteered her to help us on the outreach efforts, and you'll be seeing next month when the committee launches its website. Cindy did all of the design work and photography on her own time for both the website and the photography, and I think it's going to be really top notch.
Very much appreciated.
Oh, is she here? Okay, yeah.
He's such a good photographer.
We're just talking about you.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Wild and Singing Nashua Rivers. Soon.
Yeah, soon.
Made public.
So what would the designation achieve? It will only be granted if the study demonstrates, as Al mentioned, both the outstanding resources and the local commitment to protect them. And that's why it's key that all 8 towns through the boards of selectmen are committed to this process, which the Air Board has been, and the other 7. And ultimately, which we'll talk about later, this will ultimately have to go to the town meeting of all 8 towns for approval. But the designation would prohibit new federally licensed dams and harmful diversions to the study area. It adds federal protection to ensure that any future federally funded or federally permitted water resource project would not adversely impact the rivers. As Al mentioned, the study creates this river management plan to be directed by the locally based committee, which oversees the implementation.
And I would say that that's likely to be a morphing of our study group. It will become a coordinating committee of stewardship council, whatever you want to call it.
And then the management plan is seeking to really protect water quality and natural and cultural resources through voluntary measures at the local level. We really want to stress the voluntary component and the local component. And this designation would obviously qualify these river segments for annual federal funds.
Harbor Pond.
What the study and the designation does not do. The study and designation does not lead to federal acquisition of land, establish a federal park, or put land under federal control. It requires public access, doesn't require public access to private land, or force any changes in the local process of land use decision making. So I think that's one of the refreshing things about this designation. It doesn't do a lot of the things that you traditionally hear or concern people about property rights and land rights. The study and the designation does not change any of the existing land uses, and there is no impact on any of the existing dams. Hunting and fishing laws are not affected by a designation, and access to the rivers is not restricted.
So we will be looking to establish that we're eligible, that we have those ORRVs. Suitability refers to the town's willingness to work with us. And then as we saw during the study, as distinct from after a designation may be made, that ban on new dams is in effect. If we get at the end of the long process, and if we haven't touched on it, there will be a need for a vote at town meeting, each of the 8 towns. If we get to that point, as I said, the ongoing study committee will likely morph into a coordinating or stewardship function. And that's for the purposes getting some federal funds will allow us to carry out some of our management activities. Blanding's turn, I think.
So the next steps, as Al mentioned, the two subcommittees are at work. The outreach committee is doing these. You were the first presentation to the Board of Selectmen. We're reaching out to all of the town boards, and I think it's important for the board to know that after tonight as well, members of the committee from the River Watershed Group and from this organization will contact various departments and stakeholders in Ayer to get more information for the overall study. The drafts of the study's committee work will be publicly shared, and as mentioned, we're planning for this month, the end of this month, to launch the website, which will also serve as an online repository for that work. Once the draft management plan's prepared, as Al mentioned, we'll be coming back to see you, so probably in about 2 years, year and a half, for you to review it and to approve the management plan. And we would be respectfully requesting that the board consider supporting a warrant article 2 years from now for the annual town meeting for the adoption of the study. And that's where we're at. Oh.
Yeah, and of course, once it goes through the towns, then it's brought to Congress.
Then it goes to
The
Congress.
President signs it into law. There's
A lot of work.
yeah, there are 3 others in Massachusetts: Suasco, Sudbury, Aspet, Concord. They base their ORRVs on literary and cultural aspects. You got the North Bridge, you got the Minuteman National Park, etc. The Taunton River, the Westfield River, and then a part of the Farmington River is in Massachusetts as well. There are 2 others that are lockstep with us for this round. There's York River in Maine, and the Wood Pawtucket River is in Rhode Island as well, which are same 3-year cycle as us.
We appreciate your continued support. We'll be back with the draft report.
That will be the.
I'm going to put my wastewater treatment hat on. As most of you know, that our wastewater treatment plant discharges to the Nashua River, and we have as of about a year and a half ago, we have a new discharge permit that has probably I know the strictest limits on the Nashua. Basically, we don't have a lot of water quality data for the stretch of the Nashua that we discharge in, so the EPA uses what they call their gold standards, which are better than the water you drink these days. So we're in the process of doing some sampling to see what's actually in the river itself where we discharge, and can we have some of those limits modified so that we don't have to do some really expensive advanced treatment at the plant. Would this designation affect that at all?
No, it's primarily focused on structures that are in water, like bridges, road crossings, that sort of thing. But even there, only when it's at the federal level, so only when the feds get involved. But the Army Corps often does get involved, but they wouldn't be involved in that.
We could remove a dam, that might help us too.
Oh, absolutely. Sure, that'll be in the plan, and move as many dams as possible.
And I have another question. How does this affect the tributaries that flow in?
Well, from a regulatory point of view, not at all. But during the study, we can turn our attention to any tributary that is asked. There are a tremendous number of tributaries, as you might know. We have the ability to look at a very narrow offset off the side shore. We could go up to a 1/4 mile for what we want to include in the management plan, or we could literally do the entire watershed, or as it were, it would be subbasins. That has yet to be determined. I think where we find that we have outstanding resource values that are farther away from the river, we would probably defer to a watershed-wide management plan, and perhaps less so along the main stem Nashua, but the Squanicook and the Satisit are in such good condition because their tributaries are. We can look at it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody got anything else?
And you were going to send around a memo, perhaps?
Oh, yeah, so if there are no other questions, what I will do is send out a memo to all of our department heads, probably with the presentation, all of our departments a copy of it, informing them that's where we're at and that they may be contacted by the committee for different information.
For example, we're very eager to speak with the Historical Society, that sort of thing.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right,
Yeah.
thank
Thank you for your time and attention.
Yeah. Thanks for your patience.
Yes. I leave this with you.
Thanks, Al.
See you
Thank you.
tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, just a couple of brief points under my administrative update. First, I wanted to thank all of the departments and everybody that was involved, including the board, with the special fall town meeting. It was another successful town meeting. With that concluded, we now move right into the FY 2018 budget process. The capital planning process is underway. Capital plans will be due from all departments on December 2nd, and then the committee will be meeting on the 14th of that month. We're going to have a lot of hard decisions to make in terms of capital based on existing capital as well as new capital needs, and I think it's going to be it's always a very dynamic process, but I think we're going to have to be selective. The second thing, on November 15th, is the next Board of Selectmen's meeting, and the town accountant will be here for the bands issue. And through the chair, she and I would like to put an agenda item for the board on the 15th for 15 minutes to just do a brief FY18, we'll call it an FY18 budget snapshot as of November 15th. And what I mean by that, and I know that many of you have concerns and are aware of these issues, that now that the fall town meeting is over, as we move into FY18, we committed a considerable amount of free cash at fall town meeting, but they were for needed projects of the town. But what does that mean for free cash for the balance of the year? We have some outstanding large ticket infrastructure items that have yet to be resolved, such as the bridges, which I know the superintendent is putting together a meeting and will be coming back to the board to discuss those potential solutions, but we know there's a significant cost there. The wastewater treatment plant analysis, which is underway as to the plant upgrades and so forth, even with the most best painted picture, we know that's a considerable cost. The school assessment every year remains a unknown variable, and we're also factors in Shirley and all of that piece, but we get the school assessment piece coming up. The news on health insurance front is not encouraging at all for Mr. Johnston. As the Affordable Care Act continues to be implemented, we're looking at double-digit health insurance. We're looking at double-digit health increase for FY18. The question is, how big are those double digits? Additionally, there's always the unknowns in there. So based on those variables, what Lisa and I'd like to do is have a brief discussion with the board on the 15th, 15 minutes, show just sort of some of the trends and so forth, and as we sort of prepare for the FY18 process. I think we'll be coming back to you probably for the beginning of December as far as the budget directive, which comes from my office on behalf of the board. I think, again, as in past years, we've often asked for level-funded budgets and so forth. We actually may have to ask for level-funded budgets as the best-case scenario, and we may have to really look. I know I've heard from all of you on the board about tightening the belt and getting, back to some of the we've done great work, there's no question, it has to move forward, but there are variables out there that are concerning, even on the state budget front, changes on the federal level, etc., that we need to, with last year's budget, which with the personnel increases, and this is not meant as a judgment on any department or what have you, I think the good things were done, they were approved by town meeting, it was the will of the people, but we have to really assess where the budget is
I
going.
mean, it's positioned us pretty
Yeah,
well. I mean,
yeah.
it's just Now
Right.
It's like maintaining it.
Exactly. So that will be, if there's no objections, the board will keep it short and sweet, and it's just a snapshot, but to get people thinking. December 6th is the tax classification hearing. We'll have more information from the Board of Assessors for you, obviously, prior to that. On November 7th, the first wave of the Massachusetts Modernization Act is going to begin to come into effect, one of the things being new procurement changes. I'll have a brief update for the board for the next meeting, but we will be prepared for those changes on November 7th and 8th when they go into effect. And some of the other things in those bills will have an update. There will be some potential choices for the board to consider on some policy changes, whether you want to do them or not. So
Is that the warrant part of that?
there's a piece about the warrant. There's some other nuts and bolts policy things that the board, so we'll get that together. The main one is the procurement changes. Lastly, as far as, in addition to the updates that have been out there on the MART project, the interim improvements for the access are going to be underway. You heard about the status on the hydrant. They're putting in the plan for the lighting and for the interim measures. The Park Street property acquisition, those properties, the acquisition continues. There is going to be a December deadline, however, since those appraisals were done, if there isn't offers made, because it's a federal appraisal process, those appraisals will begin to expire in the beginning of December. So MART is really trying to work with the outstanding property owners to come to some type of agreement within those frameworks. And frankly, this will be more to come. If all of the properties cannot be acquired, or some of them cannot be acquired, then the project is going to have to be designed around those properties, which, in just my opinion, I don't think is optimal for the project or for the property owners, but that's just my opinion, but we're not there yet, but it's coming up quick. In speaking with MART towards the end of last week, they did indicate, and I know it's on the agenda, and we can talk about that in more detail, but they did confirm that if the decision is made by the Board of Selectmen to demolish the Advocates Building, MART will pay for the total demo. So that was a positive piece of news on that. And lastly, the transfer of the actual lot from the state to the town. I know that sounds like a broken record. It keeps coming up. That's still all green lights and is moving forward. So that's where we are on the administrative update. And the only action item I have is with the approval of town meeting for the funding for the full-time conservation agent hours, I would be respectfully requesting that the board just take a vote to authorize those effective November 2nd. And the significance is that you are the collective bargain agent, and in authorizing it, that we can also memorialize it with the union.
So moved. Oh, sorry.
No, not there. I was gonna make a synopsis, but that's good. You good?
I do.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Have the department field inspection people have been provided name tags yet?
They have been ordered, and that will go into effect it's scheduled to go into effect now.
Okay.
And it's all staff.
It's everybody.
No, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's a good idea for their safety as well.
Yep.
Okay, signs at the Rotary. I brought this up to Robert last week. Those Littleton wrestling signs would just kind of
I would have removed them, but I would have been on the front page of the paper.
freaking me out. So,
They're in
But-
Fitchburg. They're on the Concord Rotary. Oh yeah, talk about a marketing blitz.
Well, and I had mentioned it too right after this whole island thing, just, I'm not gonna get into. I thought we had agreed many times that signs in the center of the Rotary, unless they were the Boy Scouts or something that was benefiting the town, school, an announcement, Christmas lighting, whatever, were to be either on the left, or I'm sorry, on the right coming in,
yeah.
or the right coming out from Main Street, where you see a lot of them.
Right.
And that any ones in the middle were gonna be removed. I mean, I seen the show with Tech Pop, about 15 of them, and after the wrestling ones were.
Well, the problem is, how do we enforce it?
I I think DPW is just gonna pick
You
them
know?
up.
Well, it's a state, so
Yeah.
go ahead, you can.
So just through the chair, and it is a perennial issue, you put into effect, obviously, the policy for our owned land on political signs. We've got that down to a science. The Rotary is state. I asked Chief Murray, he contacted the state. Mass DOT apparently has a sign policy for the Rotary. I've asked the chief if he would meet with District 3 on this policy and if we can find common ground, because to Selectman Hillman's point, what we have been doing traditionally is when people do ask the town, we tell them, exactly, you can put a sign over where, you know, where tidal wave,
Yeah.
because that's
It's
the,
safer too.
right.
not driving
Put a
around
sign
with the
there, we tell them, put a sign there, but here's the caveat. It's technically state land, so if it's stolen or taken, it's not us. 2, you need to
This is
remove,
the islands.
right, you need to remove it.
Trump sign.
You need to remove it within time. But see what happens, not everybody contacts the town, obviously, and they do these blitzes and so forth. So it's trying to find some kind of system between us because Mass Highway has been taking the political signs because I've been getting calls all week about the political signs, both parties, but that the signs, no, it's Mass Highway is taking the political signs, which is their purview.
I just find it odd that we got signs for Littleton Wrestling on Ayer property.
Well, that guy's a twist.
Well, like I said, they're at the Concord Rotary.
Yeah.
But it's not, you know, it's not that you're looking at it the left, it's when you coming out, you're getting ready to turn onto the rotaries when you're looking at it. But I mean, it was a blitz around the Concord Rotary too.
Now, and I know we had I spoke to Dr. Klinowitz a few years ago about it. She said, oh, we'll make sure that it doesn't happen again. Obviously, she's gone. I said, put them where people can see them when they're stopped, they can look.
Yeah.
Driving around, there was a junk removal company that had plopped about 5 signs in there a couple weeks ago too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, oh, we'll drive through, plop signs.
I think the show text thing is over. Was it?
Sunday.
Oh,
And I
Sunday.
think they've.
But
been-
the other problem is that you do have residents who do want to know about the Littleton Wrestling, the Neshoba Tech, or even the junk, as to being able to
Well,
call.
but
So but I mean, does that mean we have to have
Where does
100 on the Rotary? No.
Where does it, like, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't go put Hilco signs up on the Rotary. Do you know what I mean? Like that, I think that's different. The recycle your reusables is great. It should be out there. And the Sherwood Tech Open House should be out there. At some point, you know.
But what I'm saying is that there are residents who would be interested in that wrestling. And they don't mind going into Littleton, just as if we had something going on and we would put a sign into Littleton. So there's the other end of the argument also. But does that mean that we should have it littered with signs? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But we also have to be careful that we're not taking away from signs and taking away from information from the residents.
No, I
And it's a
agree,
catch-22.
And that's why I think the Boy Scouts is a good one. I think that.
But-
the recycling
But not
process-
always, but that's not always somebody's gonna agree with the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts either.
Yeah.
Well, I think any town group is more.
Let's see what Littleton High School does if
Yeah.
they go put air wrestling signs in the Littleton Commons. See
Yeah.
how long these last.
Yeah.
Or in Harvard, because we get a lot of those too.
So the chief's gonna get together.
So,
with District
and the
3.
chief is gonna be back to
And
the
see what
board
we
on
can do.
another sign issue. I've asked him to connect with their policy, meaning District 3, and we need to come up with a solution to address the sign blitz and like the junk signs, meaning,
Yeah.
and
And
I
they
mean,
proliferate. You put one, and that's what happens. You get 3 or 4 more, 3 or 4 more.
So like
Right.
a side deal or something, maybe we can come to some conclusion with them.
right. So, for example, our people, the town will not touch any political signs on the Rotary because, you know, again, that whole First Amendment thing. You guys approve the policy on town lands. We take them afterwards, but they take them to DPW and what have you. So the issue is, it's the state Rotary. It's not ours, but how do we make this? It's the blitz that really gets people.
Okay. Are we good at that? Mary, you have a question?
Mr. Chairman, we've always had political signs, I guess we call it by tidal wave there. And why all of a sudden, and I've lived here 36 years, it's never been a real problem to put a few signs there? Is Mass DOT
There's some now,
coming
isn't there?
and pulling them off?
No.
They were, I saw them.
Oh, really?
I saw him
I
throw
saw-
it in the back of his truck. He looked rather furtive when he was doing it.
Furtive.
Hmm.
And he waited a few minutes and then he threw it in the back of the
That's
truck.
our property, right?
No.
No.
Oh, it isn't?
No.
But there were two signs there. There was one first and then there were two and then and both of them were
Can you
gone.
ask
Yeah.
Chief to look? Yes.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, we can
a
let
couple
them-
years ago when the American Legion's signs for the parade were stolen,
Hmm.
you know, and they were thrown away, so.
I thought
Yeah.
the state Rotary, they couldn't do political signs. That's pretty
No, yeah,
common
it's a
through the whole,
separation.
No, you can.
Yeah.
through the
You
whole
can't.
state.
You can, on state property.
I think
Well,
that's
that's,
what,
isn't that what you just said? You can?
No, meaning we don't touch them, we leave them to the state. Our policy on the local level is we remove them a week after the election.
Right.
What about, I mean, just maybe a simple sign, no signs to be placed, you know, something subtle.
Well, that may,
But ironically, that
be.
becomes a mem. No signs to be placed here, and you've got a sign to be placed where you just said,
Well,
you're a mem
you know,
waiting to
do
happen.
something, or just,
Yeah.
you know, signs get plopped in the middle of the rotary.
Well, the problem is that, you know, you sometimes have a scenario where somebody's dropped one sign, but they put it someplace else, and then somebody being funny grabs them and goes and moves them.
I just think that the Rotary has come such a long way with the cleanup, the way the DPW maintains it now. With the Christmas lights, it's become a focal point. And
Mhm.
you drive through and see junk removal and, you know, it kind of takes away. There was a couple other ones there you mentioned last week. The Littleton Wrestling was obnoxious, and that's been every town that he's built with that.
yeah, what I'm hoping for is that the chief and Mass Highway will come to a solution, and then we can publicize and have, you know what I'm saying, get that word out to get people away from
It's
using.
a safety issue too. If you
Yeah.
bring a sign, like Gabe had mentioned, I've never been sold on anything driving 30 miles an hour looking to my left.
Mhm.
I mean, around Rotary, at least at those two, at least you're stopped and you can see them. But,
Right, so.
I mean, none of us put campaign signs up there when we run for election in the center of the Rotary. We really expect them to.
Mhm.
I'll see where he's at, the chief, on that, probably for the 15th, but I'll check.
Okay, speaking of signs and stuff, forget to mention that intersection, how good it is now, Willow Street.
That is really, really, everybody should be
It's
proud
working
of
out
themselves at this table.
great.
Just that,
Oh, the traffic
Oh,
light.
yeah, yeah.
The sensors are great.
Yeah.
I mean, Allison goes to work at 4 in the morning, and she, the first time she pulled up, she was, you know, 'cause there's nobody coming.
Right.
As soon as she stopped, the light switched because
Yeah.
it's really, it's been amazing. The
I
way
don't
they-
know how it is at rush hour, 5 or so, how.
I've done it coming back, coming through there, and yeah. At first, I was kind of like, why are we so backed up? You know, 'cause I was kind of backed up so far coming in through Littleton and everything. At first, I thought there was an accident, and then I was like, oh, it's the light, and I'm like, oh, okay. So
it
I think,
turns out
but it
well.
would no. I think it was more that it felt backed up because it was something new.
Mhm.
But what I have to get a kick out of it is every time I approach those traffic lights, I'm like, geez, they're really big. I mean, they just stand out
Well, you
so,
can't miss it.
you know, much.
No,
You know, so, but no, I've had my coworkers all love it.
Yeah, they did a nice job, and it certainly makes that, and the way they made the traffic stop
Mhm.
back at the Citgo, the trucks can make the loop
Yep.
up, and it's worked really well.
Yeah.
So that's kudos to the state for that.
All right, status of Advocates Building, I brought this up to Robert. You know, I see Alan putting, you're gonna have a vision walk or whatever. I thought the intent of the Advocates Building was to make a larger area for access to the train station. That's what I thought intent of the of town meeting was. I know that's why I voted for it. There was very little opposition to it at town meeting, if any. And I just can't understand why we would purchase a piece of land, or take a piece of land, and then do a study on it to see what we're gonna do with that piece of land, with the building on it. I don't know who came up with the
It can only be
idea.
accessed through the access to the driveway
Right.
that we own.
No, I mean, you know, I know we've talked to Thatcher too, and they're working on a plan to run shuttle buses from Shirley and Ayer after Littleton jumped in, up to Devon's. And that would be a perfect area to turn around in. Not that we have any final design on it, but I just can't see purchasing or taking something like that for any other reason but what it was intended for.
Couldn't agree more.
So I just, it,
I understand where everybody's coming from. The purpose of Alan's thing on Friday, and I understand based on how it's been promoted and so forth, people's concerns. I know you and I have discussed it.
Yeah.
But couple things. One is the town's intent.
Robert, 1 second.
Yeah.
People are getting excited about it, which is bothering me.
Okay. So, yeah, so just backing up real quick. What we all want to do, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, specifically the board, because first of all, what we determine to do with that building is ultimately up to this board. This board will determine to tear it down. This board will determine not to tear it down, or when I say repurpose it, as I understand it, within a public transit function.
Okay.
So we acquired the building. The question was, there were opinions right from the beginning of demolish it, and there still are. There's still a lot of, including, because I will be at Alan's presentation, and that's one of the key things that I will emphasize, is to look at it as it being gone as far as the space to improve the access, the building gone. But there was no consensus, if you will, as to when I say what to do with the building, what I'm getting at, before we just tore it down, let's make sure we didn't need some aspect of it or so forth. And that's still, what's going to be determined. This board has heard that Mart's opinion is to tear it down. Mohammed and George said it that night. Yeah, you asked them point blank. They told you, in fact, not only have they not changed on that position, but their position, as I told you in my report, which we just learned, that if the board determines to tear it down, they'll pay for it.
Right.
And they have the money to tear it down.
And they'll make it
Yeah.
a nice area.
And that's kind of what Alan's, it's the space more than the building.
Well, yeah, no, he marketed the building as the USO building. How do we repurpose the building? You may be right, but the way it was put out there was that building and how it was used and how can we repurpose it.
Yeah, that's why there's,
and it completely flies in the face of eminent domain.
So I guess the flip side of it is that we acquired, and a key distinction that you made, Selectman Luca, a key thing, it's in the articles that town meeting approved, and it's under the eminent domain statute. That property has to be used for public transit purposes. So you're absolutely correct that I think we're getting far-fetched when we start talking about all of these stores and so forth. I think
I don't want to bring up false hopes to people.
I understand. I also said to him that what we're more interested in is what do people, this is why I keep saying the word space, because we know that the aesthetics and so forth of this have to be top-notch. I'm more interested in what do people see as those various elements. You're absolutely correct. Devens wants to send shuttles down to that location. When the project's built, Mart wants to put it on the whole loop, from Park Street.
Right.
But I think, again, this is part of, if you will, the public due diligence. This is just all ideas. It comes down to, frankly, ultimately, the Board of Selectmen. I think that there will be people at this charrette that will be talking about tearing it down, some of them from some of the groups that we know, because it sets the stage for the next evolution of the thing, which is access to the platform. But I think one of the things that the board needs to determine, and I don't have the definitive answer, is when does that decision get made? Because we're working in the process. We're moving in the direction of relocation of the tenants. So we have to relocate them. So there's the relocation piece. And then there's going to have to be a vote by the board as to what to do with the building. We will obviously submit, those who can attend this 2-day thing, I'll be at both days, can offer your input and so forth. That would just be an advisory report showing the due diligence, because there'll be people that will come before this board and say, oh, you just tore the building down, did you do any due diligence? And we can say, yeah, we did.
But like you said, and I stated, it's in the article. what could we possibly do?
Right, well, I mean,
Do we
okay,
want to be a landlord?
no, we don't want to be a landlord, and I mean,
Take care of bathrooms.
I think some, right, and so additionally, the bathroom concept came up by
Ticket
some.
booth, it's not 1975.
Right.
Everything's automated, there's kiosk machines right in Littleton that we walk up to, and
Mm-hmm, and,
I
yeah.
think people, I like the idea of the bathrooms and shelter, but that is not on the town. That should be as
Mhm.
part of a redesigned platform like they did in Littleton and Acton with
Right.
proper shelter, not the town's responsibility.
Right, and some have brought up that have brought up like this, like coffee kiosk concept. These are just conceptual things, but it looks like that, again, they're gonna do this public, it's just public input, gonna talk about the whole space. What do people see as pluses, minuses? It's one of these visioning exercises. At the end, though, I think that the board will need to make a determination with respect to the building, because Mart also indicated that pending the weather, if you don't have a repeat window, I mean, it's something that can be done relatively quick. The key piece is we have to move the tenants.
Right.
And my office is in the process of doing that as we speak, and it,
I mean, the sooner the better, as far
Right.
as I'm concerned. I mean,
right,
that's the first piece they have to get out of there.
yeah.
And they're aware of that, right, obviously?
They are aware of that. Alan's aware that part of his whole presentation, as I've seen it, is about the whole demo. He is going to go into this objectively as he would. We're not trying to, everybody's going to have an opinion, but at least the public can weigh in, and maybe something of value will come of it. But I think, yes, the relocation of the tenants, it's not going to take forever. That's the only variable.
I guess, I think if it was presented originally, if we didn't own the building, everything makes sense, you keep the building, right? Unfortunately now, to some degree, we own the building. However, the only access to the building now that we own is through the strip of land that we purchased. It's not through the side of the medicine shop.
Yep.
That's all gonna be fenced in.
Oh, right.
So where
Yeah.
I know I know I'm drawing for myself, but
No.
you have people crossing in front of a building, so now if you have 4 or 5 cars in here, now that's 4 or 5 handicap spaces, or 4 or 5 places a bus could park, or I just don't,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as soon as it happens that you can move those people, then we need to have a decision.
And the last point, up until, was it Thursday? Up until Thursday, the offer to demolish the building by Mart was not on the table. What I'm getting at, not that, but I'm just saying, we, the town, that's why this is a game changer in that sense. They will pay for the whole thing.
Right.
Before, I mean, we were gonna go back to town back to town meeting and say, okay, the building we bought, now we need to get demo funds.
I mean, Bruno's made it pretty clear that, I mean, they won't impose on our sovereignty, but if we make the decision to get rid of it, they
Right.
will pay for it.
And I'm glad you brought that point up, because 2 key points in the end, and it's gonna be a whole process, the vote on the building and the vote on the final design is right here.
and the 3 of us were at the meeting 2 or 3 years ago. That was the objective of everybody that was here, was direct access. And, we had talked about at the time, can you make it go through the building? No one, initially they said you couldn't go behind the building because you were too close. We've all know the FDA has changed their stuff a million times, but the building was the main sticking point at the time until they paved that little spot in the back there.
Lastly, when I talked to Alan in his world, because now he's on, not only the removal of that building, because it was historically like.
No offense to Alan.
No, but it
appreciate
was,
his ambition.
but it's evolving even as we speak, because historically, it was sort of like the town common, if you will. If you can imagine the medicine shop not being there. That was,
But there was a gas station there.
yeah, way before. He's got photos, that fountain next to town. It was
Right.
like a.
What I'm saying is where the medicine
Yeah.
shop is, it's always had something right there.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that was Merchant Row,
Right.
where that mobile station is, and, I mean, the town common thing, that's a great idea, but.
So I will
it
give,
Doesn't really,
we will give another report on the 15th. If you guys can come, that's great this weekend. We'll report how that went on the 15th. We'll have another update pending on new information and an update on the relocation, which is a process, but is a doable process. That's the key thing.
And I think that's number one.
Yeah.
And,
And parts of that are underway.
Well, I mean, we could, I mean, depending on how it works out, we could vote to remove the building contingent on the moving of the tenants in there now.
yeah.
I mean, doesn't.
We could, but, I mean, we could do that right now, but then sadly, what's gonna get, you know, repeated outside is that, you know, prior to the tenants leaving, we'd already demolished the building and.
No, I'm not saying they're in there,
Yeah.
you know.
No, I'm
holding
saying that
class or
even doing a
lifting weights and
contingent,
wrecking
you
ball
know,
goes to
no,
the
I'm-
middle of it.
I'm saying that even if we make one of the contingent, there's always gonna be those 5 people that will spread it.
You know what, there's gonna
You
be
know,
those 5
so-
people if we gave them the.
I think it would probably
to-
look better once we know they have a home.
They're gonna have a home, I mean, we're not throwing them out on the street. We
Oh, I
can't
know
legally
that.
throw them out on the street.
Oh, I know
That's part
that.
of eminent domain, we have
Yes.
to,
Yeah.
We pay for the relocation.
exactly.
Right.
So, I mean, we can't, whether we look bad or
It's a lot
not,
of
we have to,
barbells.
and I think she understood it tonight. I mean, you said, sorry for all the aggravation, when they get it.
Yeah. The, I forgot what I was gonna say now. Damn it. What were you just talking about?
I have no idea.
How about making the motion?
No, I'm making a point is that what I'm trying to say is that we have to find them a home. We know we're not gonna be kicking them out. But if we start making votes that are contingent upon those, the public looks at it as being the cart before the horse.
Mm.
Because then it could be, you know, 4 months later that we're saying, okay, we finally found a home for them. And
Yeah,
people are already
I know, but
screaming,
the people-
going, oh, you had the wrecking ball and everything like that.
People are gonna want to see the building, are
So-
gonna say.
Oh, I know what I wanted to say. Has this been run through the master plan committee?
What?
What, Depot Square? Not really.
We haven't got to that
No,
transportation
no.
piece yet.
No, that hasn't gone through yet.
Okay, just curious.
And lastly, the scenarios, the renderings that the professional consultant are looking at include scenarios without the building there, obviously, which will also help as to what it will look like.
Okay. Do they mean like a replacement building? That
No
could be
replacement.
smaller or-
No, it would be-
And the other issue is
Personally,
too-
I'll tell you right now, I don't want the building.
No, and
No.
I could see if it was on the other side of the tracks, because that's where you board, you have to
Right.
cross.
Hmm.
So if you're sitting in here and the train comes, what do? Climb underneath it? I mean, if you're in the shelter, I mean, logistically, it
No,
doesn't work.
it's just too bad.
For the purposes of what people are saying, it could work if it was on that side of the tracks. However, I don't think we should be doing anything out of our way to help the MBTA with their station redesign in terms of, they didn't provide bathrooms in Littleton. It's kiosk machines and cover.
And I have asked them on behalf of this board, I have stressed, outside of the scope of this project, there is an expectation, we know it's not going to be the $20 million access platform, but there is an expectation for some improved shelter and some other safety improvements at that platform.
And as these two can attest, I asked Mr. Boyle this when we were out there, and he said that this was, everything at that station was conducive to modifying it without the dilemmas they ran into in Acton and structures and all that. He said it had the right length, the elevations. It was one of the easier platforms to redo. So that's good. I don't have any money, but he did verify that it was one of the easier ones, which is a good thing.
Kelly, you got a question?
Just on the relocation, and according to Katie Klein, we have to actually hire a relocation specialist to assist with that because the eminent domain language is so stringent.
No, I actually
We
read
have to
It's a
stay
state
the course on
requirement.
that. It's a requirement, but something we obviously knew ahead of time, planned for, so
Do
we'll
we have
talk
to
with
vote on that?
Katie.
Or is that
Not,
just?
not yet,
Not
Because
yet.
it's under the procurement, like, right? You guys
Yeah.
just-
yeah.
There's gotta be some empty buildings around.
Oh, yeah, that's not the
Not
issue.
the fire station.
Selectman Luca, the issue's gonna be the money for the relocation.
Yeah,
More to come.
all right.
So that's where we are on that. So if you can join us this weekend, and then we'll report back, but
All right.
thank you.
Yep, thank you. Chris?
Oh, I had just, I'd been out of the loop, so I just emailed, Robert some follow-up questions and some
Mhm.
stuff that had been going on. And I said either at the meeting or,
No, and that's why we just put this
Yeah,
on
yeah,
in
yeah,
case
no,
I
it's fine.
missed something.
so I think it was the fence across
Yeah.
the street, which you said was gonna go through Capitol,
Yep.
what the MBTA is gonna install. The traffic study,
Yep.
and I wasn't sure if we had voted on it or if that,
Yes.
I thought we had.
So the traffic, so the fence is the fence over here.
Across from-
The MBTA will do all of the labor if we buy the fence. The fence is gonna have to go through capital because of the threshold, it's all being costed out. The traffic study you approved, the consultant is World Tech, they're on board. The timeline per the superintendent is to have the report study completed by January. So we'll get that a draft report to you, do a presentation. It's looking at the whole downtown parking, including implications of the project, the side streets, the whole deal.
Meters and stuff like that.
The whole
if
thing,
that's,
meters,
yeah.
angled parking, line parking, the municipal lots, the private
Good.
sector lots. I was satisfied with the kickoff meeting that involved the two chiefs, the
Oh.
engineer and Mr. Wetzel.
Yeah.
So you may see them out and about doing some counts and what have you.
Okay. And then it was the, just to follow up on the streetlights.
Yeah, so the streetlights, you actually saw two of them were actually just put in, one,
Did two on Sunday,
two on Sunday.
or Saturday, I'm sorry.
Everything is teed up.
What I
from-
meant, I'm sorry, I meant all of the streetlights, on all the streets.
Oh, yeah, so
not
all of
just
the
downtown.
streets.
Oh, okay.
We're teed up for that with National Grid. We're just waiting to hear from National Grid on the goal, per the superintendent, myself, and this board, is that it's done by the spring. So it's in the,
Mhm.
there's been National Grid delays, but we're ready to go. I will send out something to the board once I hear from Mr. Wetzel on the date.
And then I
Can we
believe that,
push them at all?
I deal with them a lot, they're awful.
And they have all these
Politically,
community,
can we-
They just bump someone else. You do it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I actually had to get Senator Elledge involved with someone that they disconnected the gas and wouldn't turn it back on, and.
it's
he
like
was
railroad
he- he-
utility.
He made the phone call, and
Mhm.
it kinda, but I mean, it was like, they could care less, it's absolutely amazing. The other question was the town hall, and it was just, I know that was a Green Communities Act for the
Yeah,
great
so
year.
that was the only one we didn't get the grant for because the rate of return. So I've told Mr. Sherman to put this upgrade in the FY18 budget. So it is in there, actually. You'll see in the draft budget. We'll get it done.
And I think there was something else, but I think it was, that was pretty much it. It was just follow-up stuff. And then, one thing for maybe next meeting, because I was at Nature's Classroom.
How was that?
It was fantastic,
Good.
actually. Besides the reporter calling me when I was there. What about it? We had talked about truck exclusions in various places.
Yeah.
What about one right on Columbia Street?
I thought they said that we couldn't do it.
No,
I thought we asked that before and
Sandy
the
Pond
G
and
said no.
Central.
Wait,
It was
Columbia? I'm
So
sorry.
right, this is Columbia, right?
Yeah,
here?
right here? Okay.
I mean, just, and I don't know, but what you get is,
It's horrid.
you get, and Gary would know better than, and you guys will know. I had to pick Jack up at the middle school today, he didn't feel well, so I had to come through. I followed a triaxle and a dump truck coming down from the work at, out by me, Cantina. Came to the corner, turned, almost wiped out the new, fire inspection car that was out here, because there's no room, it was parked right here. And then, of course, then took a right this way. And you get it the other way too, so, because they're avoiding the rotary. But if there's a truck exclusion, just on this stretch, because this is all pedestrians.
Mhm.
And I don't see how we can't look into it, I mean, or at least, I'm sure I know what the answer is, but.
I will ask
I'd
the
love to
chief.
see
We'll-
it. I
We'll
mean,
ask.
You've
the-
seen it.
Oh, they've gone up your sidewalk, they've taken
Yeah,
up
oh,
the
when you took out your
telephone
pole,
pole.
I remember that
Yeah,
phone
yeah.
call. Hey, Chris, it's Gary. Do you know an electrician?
Yeah.
But someone's going to get run over.
Yes.
And without the big trucks, I mean, possibly you could put a handicap spot right in front of the post office again, like it used to be.
But something tells me there's a reason that there already isn't one, but we'll ask. The truck exclusion.
I know the thing was chapter 90 funds we use for.
Yeah, there's
I don't
always
know.
something.
Yeah.
I always go back to, they have one on Taylor Street in Littleton, which is 2 exits to Route 2, and they have Wynn Street in
You said
Burlington.
Wynn Street, huh?
Wynn Street in Burlington has a truck exclusion. You cannot get off Wynn Street in Burlington with anything, a triaxle or a tractor trailer truck. So, and that's about as busy as it gets.
I was over there the other day too, I didn't even think to look.
Yep, so, just a thought, I mean, it might,
What street in Littleton?
Taylor
Taylor.
Street, which is, runs by,
Upper Route 2.
Yeah.
behind through the lights, heading back towards Littleton Common, you take a right and then a left
Okay.
and get a Route 2.
Oh, I didn't, okay.
Yeah, there's a truck
I didn't know
exclusion
they
on
had
that
a
road as
exclusion.
well.
And in Wynn Street, there is.
Wynn Street has been about 20 years now. Yeah. Which seems bizarre because that is about as busy as it gets.
I
But,
know it.
I'm not saying pickup trucks or anything like that. I'm talking about semis that cut through downtown. And I don't want someone to get run over and then it become an issue.
Right.
This,
Maybe the islands will help if they ever go in. I mean, that was a thought too. Put those.
Yeah.
No, you can't do the islands. They were gonna do the rippled road.
Yeah, that was part that Mark puts that on the traffic study, though, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because but didn't Chief Pedrazi say you couldn't do the islands either? Because then that would.
Well, he
He
mentioned
wanted
it, but
the rippled road would work, but we finally got that last parking spot painted so that no, you can't park there.
the Ripple Road is just
You
people
know?
just drive over it. But yeah, I know it was mentioned. I think the parking people will do a better job of determining if that works.
Yeah, I like to see speed bumps. Well, traffic calming, sorry.
They have them in Wayland.
I'm in Cambridge. Do you have anything else?
No, that's it.
Approval of minutes?
I make a motion that the meeting minutes from Tuesday, October 18th be approved as submitted.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.